Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And today we are going to talk about how to eat healthy and not feel deprived. Is that even possible? Is that something you can even do? And I 100% believe it is, because that has been my story and my life and many of the clients that I work with. And so I just wanted to come in and share 4 different tips on how to eat healthy and not feel deprived. And the reason I want to have this conversation is what I see coming up often with women who are trying to change their health and trying to change their life, and then trying to change that through what they are looking at or eating in regards to nutrition and movement and stress and sleep. But a common theme that keeps coming up is the feeling of feeling deprived. And that actually comes from what we now consider as diets. Like a diet is actually what you normally eat in your everyday life. What some cultures eat, like in certain places around the world, they might have more of this in their diet, more of this in their diet. But what we have come to know diets are as things that are meant to restrict for a specialized purpose. And for most people, it's to lose weight, or it could be other health conditions, right? So I totally believe diets have their time and place. But for many of us, we are running to it as a quick fix solution when it shouldn't be. And many of us are trying to go about changing our health, changing our life, and following this rubric that diets provide or different diets provide, and feel often deprived, or often feel like if they deter from it, then we're bad, or we're never going to get the results we want. And I actually think that is not a healthy way to think, and that's actually not a great way to live. Now, again, if you have certain health conditions present in your life, there may be things that you can't have again, or there may be things you shouldn't have again. But again, I'm speaking to the person who is speaking to the woman who is just trying to be healthy and really take care of her body, reach her goals, whatever they are, and enjoy the process. And so when it comes to nutritious eating, healthy eating, there are certain foods that are more advantageous for you than others, right? We talk about this all the time with my clients, but also we're going to talk about this in the Healthy Habits Jumpstart program that I am hosting and leading starting January 24th. But there are definitely, different categories of macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that are more advantageous than others. And I'm just going to summarize and say whole food sources in their most unprocessed form are definitely the best and most nutritious for you. But I just think, again, we may know things that we need to do and know things that even work for us, not even things that we think should work, that even work for us. But we go with this all or nothing mentality, and it keeps us in a place of feeling stuck or feeling deprived. And, the writers of the Intuitive Eating book will talk about this often, the deprivation backlash, is that we keep depriving, and there's a backlash to that. And that's when you are like, oh man, I'm just going to eat whatever I want this day because I've reached my goal, and now I can finally eat these foods again. But what if you had a different perspective? What if you went about a different way and journey of getting to that goal while still maybe enjoying some of those foods? So these 4 tips I just wanted to mention here, and to remind you of a couple things before I get into those 4 tips is, 1, I'm doing a free series all of this week in my Facebook group, More Than Your Weight Women's Community. If you're not on Facebook, I know some people aren't on Facebook as much anymore. I am uploading the videos to my YouTube channel afterwards. So still a place to watch it for you. And we're covering one area of a healthy habit that I'll be diving way much deeper into in my 30-day program, but just giving you a kind of a tip or two in those main areas to really support you in rocking your New Year health goals. So you're going to want to join that series or watch that this week for some ideas and tips. But I will say where you're going to get the most transformation is in a program, in my coaching programs. And my Healthy Habits Jumpstart program is open for enrollment, and we start in 2 weeks. And I actually, 2 things, the early bird price ends this Friday, where you get 25% off and a 30-minute bonus one-on-one call with me. But also I have opened up scholarship applications. I just was talking to a lot of different women who really felt like they wanted this support and wanted this program, but just different things in life were preventing them from financially being able to do it. And so I am offering a full scholarship to one amazing lucky woman, even though you're all amazing if you apply. but I'm giving it to one woman. But I will say this. So if you feel like this is the program, this is something you really want to do, definitely check the details, but apply for the scholarship. Deadline closes on Friday. But also, I mentioned this on today's training, and even when I was reflecting on it later, the idea of actually, if you have funds, even if you don't feel like, sometimes you can make a way and cut back on something else to invest in yourself. Because when you start to invest in yourself, I mean with money, not just time, you start to tell yourself that I am worth it. Now, where our money goes says a lot about our priorities and values, or our priorities and values in the past, if that's one of those things, right? But I really want to encourage women to invest in their health. Again, whether it is through money or time, but I think sometimes money can be the most powerful tool. All right, so you can either apply for the scholarship or get the early bird price and bonus, but both wrap up this Friday. So you're going to want to make sure you check out those details. All right, clear my throat. Let's get in. So number one, this is a concept that I've learned in the coaching program that I went through, my health coaching program I went through, but I think it's actually something I intuitively did even before I went through this program. And it's crowding out by adding in. So do we know that there are some foods or drinks or stuff that we're regularly consuming that just aren't as nutritious for us, or aren't necessarily advantageous to, if we're having a lot of that stuff, to moving us towards the goals we want? And so I think often we cut them out. We just say, I'm just going to cut them out. I just don't want them anymore. And sometimes that works best for people, right? I'm not saying if that works good for you, but for many of us, we want that, but we just feel like we can't or shouldn't have that, so we feel deprived. So crowding out by adding in is like you can slowly crowd out those things, not in totality, but like on a normal basis by adding in other things. So instead of, for example, instead of thinking, I can never eat chocolate again, maybe instead of having chocolate every day, every other day you choose to have some sort of nutritious fruit or food, or you replace it with another food that you want to actually start having more of, right? Then slowly over time, whatever goals you have, you can slowly make it to like maybe you're having chocolate once a week, right? That's just an example. Again, I don't think it's bad to have chocolate every day. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you know what you want to do. And you know what you want and desire. And I just think there are different ways to go about it. And so crowding out by adding in is crowding out those foods you don't want to eat as much or as often by adding the foods you do want to eat more of that are you feel are more nutritious and healthy for you. All right. So if that's you, I would love to hear from you, whether it's in my Facebook group, email, or wherever. You can contact me on Instagram and just let me know if that's something that you want to try more of. And then number two is, you hear this a lot, maybe the 90 or 10% rule or the 80 or 20% rule. This just means like there's a normal way that you eat, normal way of nutritious eating that you really love and feel like you do well at. Maybe you eat that way 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you allow yourself a little bit more freedom. And my husband and I kind of do this. We don't necessarily call it 80 or 20%, but we follow more of like a whole foods based diet that just makes us feel good. And then once a week, we maybe allow ourselves, we give I don't know, we can totally do whatever we want, but we choose to have a treat of some sort that we maybe don't normally eat. I'm pregnant right now, so a lot of things are on the table. But, I just think for me, not having dairy or gluten actually makes me feel good when I don't have that often. I eat a little bit more gluten now, being pregnant, but so I would really kind of just try to say that, like maybe I had a burger and fries and a piece of cheesecake. I don't know, like to like once a week on the weekend. So I still felt like I could have it, and I enjoyed it more and I savored it more, right? So I wasn't telling myself I couldn't have it. I just kind of limited myself and provided a healthy boundary. Boundaries aren't bad. Boundaries are actually made for you to thrive. Healthy boundary to help me thrive and reach my goals or maintain whatever goals I have. All right. So if that's you, let me know, or just figure out what is it for you. What is 80% of, what do you want 80% of your time or your week want to eat in 20%? What kind of things would you want to eat? Third thing is recreate some of your favorite recipes. So when I did my first Whole30, I think I was just amazed of all the things typical dishes that I would enjoy or liked, and how I can actually make them so they're just a more nutritious version. So for example, spaghetti. It's like, not that saying wrong with pasta. Pasta's great. But if you are trying to cut out a little bit more refined carbs, which are, again, higher in carbs, and you just want to reduce that and have more vegetables or fruit, why don't you have spaghetti squash instead of pasta? It still has carbs, but it's a different one, and it has a lot more nutrition. Yeah. So I was just amazed that I could do that. Or even like, I love potato salad. I'm from the Caribbean. We love potato salad all the time. But instead of using the regular mayo, like making my own mayo or buying a very kind of like one that has these ingredients that are more advantageous and nutritious, right? So recreating some of your favorite recipes and allowing yourself to maybe just switch out a certain ingredient so it's more nutritious, or maybe it's less sugar for you. Maybe something that could really help you, again, eat more nutritious and healthy and not feel deprived. All right, so number 1 was crowding out by adding in. Number 2 was 80 to 20% rule. Number 3 is recreate some of your favorite recipes. And number 4 is more of a mindset piece. So the first 3 were kind of like strategy, but the number 4 is creating an affirmation around why you're choosing these nutritious foods. Our brain is so smart. And if your brain wants you to feel happy and feel comfort. So if you know a certain food makes you feel good, or you have it when you go do a certain thing, and then you start telling your brain you can't do that, it's going to say you feel deprived, go have it. You feel uncomfortable, you feel stressed about it. But if you start to train your brain, train your beliefs, train your thoughts and your words to say, no, like I am choosing to have this apple or whatever right now instead of this chocolate, because it does make me feel better. And I know this is moving me towards this X, Y, and Z goal that I have for myself. And you just keep repeating that to yourself. You're telling yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And that's just so important in any goal or any action you're taking, especially when you're trying to shift your routine and your habits. Because again, like you just have been doing something for so long and your brain is just saying, this is comfortable and this change I don't like, and you don't actually like it. So stop doing it, right? So training our brain and our thoughts and our beliefs to remember why we're doing something, whether it's an affirmation or a positive statement, can really help us start that process of eating the things we know we want to eat and it's good for us without feeling that bit of deprivation. All right. So to summarize, 1, crowding out by adding in. 2, 80 to 20% rule. 3, recreate some of your favorite recipes. 4, create an affirmation why you're choosing these nutritious foods. So I would love to hear from you wherever you can find me. I am mostly in my Facebook group and on Instagram, but even if you're on my email list, respond back and tell me which one of these tips that you're going to start doing to help you start that process of eating more nutritiously without feeling deprived. And I'm going to be covering more tips just like this all week in different areas of healthy habits: planning, nutrition, movement, stress, sleep, thinking positively, and all that this week in the free series. But of course, way more in depth in the Healthy Habits Jumpstart. And even in the Healthy Habits Jumpstart, we have a whole week dedicated to diet-free eating. This is that. Like, it's just we're going to stop trying to run the diets as solutions and try to create a pattern or way of eating that works for us. Okay. And, I do a lot of this with, we're going to do a lot of this with like food chart and macronutrients and focusing on quality. And we're going to give you tons of recipe ideas. Like all these 4 tips, we're going to actually practice together. Right. And so again, if you are like, okay, Brian, I've been listening. I love tips. It's very inspirational, but I want to take the next step. I'm ready, or I think I'm ready to take the next step. Apply for the scholarship for the program or jump on in. Early bird ends this week. And if you have any questions about the Healthy Habits Jumpstart, just reach out. We could have a quick chat to answer those questions, or I would love to just help you get clarity on whether this is a great fit for you or not. All right. And so you can even see the details below, and that has a link to book a call as well. All right. So that's it from me this week. A little bit of a shorter episode, but really practical things that I think if you do even just one of these things, you could really start to shift your beliefs and your actions around nutrition and not feeling deprived in the new year. All right, so go check out the scholarship application. Go check out signing up for Early Bird for the Healthy Habits Jumpstart. reach out if you have any questions. And yeah, if you would love to join me this week for this free live series, we would love to have you. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. If you are ready to shift the way that you eat, so you're eating those nutritious, those healthy foods that you know that actually you enjoy or feel good in your body and are good for you, but you want to do it in such a way where you don't feel like you're missing out. You don't feel the FOMO, you don't feel deprived, and you feel like you can enjoy some of those other foods that maybe you think aren't as nutritious for you, then this episode is for you. In this episode, I kind of just outlined 4 different tips, 4 different steps that you can do to start the process of eating that nutritious way of eating that you want to, whatever that is, right in this beginning of this new year or whenever you're listening to this, and you can do it in a way where you still feel like you're enjoying what you eat and can still enjoy maybe some of those other foods. So definitely listen in, and then come and make sure you let me know whether on social media or email which one of these tips you're going to apply this week. And then just as a reminder, 2 things, if you would love more tips around nutrition, stress, sleep, I'm going live every day in my Facebook group this week, the More Than Your Weight Women's Community, for a New Year Health series called 5 Steps to Rock Your New Year Health Goals. Just kind of giving you a few more ideas, tips, inspiration, stories, testimonials to really encourage you as you start this process of really prioritizing your health this new year. But I will say, if you're kind of like, okay, Brie, I love tips, I love inspiration, but I'm ready to get coaching support, resources, and tools to help me shift and actually apply the things that I'm learning, then I think my Healthy Habits Jumpstart program is for you. I think it's the perfect 30-day program to help you lay some foundation to jumpstart your new year with habits that are not just going to support you in the 30 days, but the year and the rest of your life. So be sure to check out the details of that. I'm giving away 1 free scholarship, so you can apply for that. Deadline is this Friday. But also, if you need to invest in your health, which I think many of you do financially, early bird price ends this Friday as well. So check out the details for all of that below. And of course, reach out if you have any questions, because the more women I can help through this program, the happier I'll be. All right, so enjoy the episode, and I will talk to you soon. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode, just talking about 4 different ways to eat healthy and not feel deprived by crowding out and adding in 80 to 20% rule, recreating some of your favorite recipes, and creating an affirmation around why you are choosing to eat these more nutritious and healthy foods. Please let me know which tip you're going to apply, but please also join me live this week for a free series with some more tips. But also, if you're ready to move from tip to action, then join me in my Healthy Habits Jumpstart, this 30-day program. You could check out the details for the scholarship application, the early bird, all of that below. But this Friday, January 14th, is the deadline for some of that. So be sure to check them out. All right, hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you on the next one. That's a wrap. That's another episode of the More Than Your Weight podcast. I hope you're leaving encouraged and inspired and empowered to go out there and know that your health and your worth is so much more than your weight. So before you go, again, do a couple things. Make sure you join my Facebook group, the More Than Your Weight Women's Community, where there are daily posts, weekly trainings, and just a lot of support to unpack these episodes, as well as get support in your More Than Your Weight journey. Make sure you also follow me on Instagram, where I show my behind the scenes of my own health, but also just how I care for others along the way. And then make sure you subscribe and rate and review this podcast, because more women will see that, but also you'll get new episodes every single week. All right, I'll see you on the next episode and can't wait to support you more. You're listening to the More Than Your Weight podcast, and I am Brianna Wilkerson, your host. You know, over half my life, I really struggled with my relationship with food, my body, and myself. I was constantly finding my worth in my weight, in what I did, in how I looked, and how other people saw me. And healthy living was just about getting that affirmation. But when I started to see that my worth and my health was so much more than my weight, I found breakthrough. Yes, my body got to a weight that it really thrived at, but more so than that, I loved myself. I took care of myself, and I cared for my body in the way that it needed.
and I am on a mission to help other women do the same. And so through this podcast, my programs, my group, I really am on a mission to help other women find peace with food, feel confident in their bodies again, and develop healthy habits and a lifestyle that's so much more than about their weight. So I'm so excited to journey with you on this podcast where you'll find solo episodes, guest interviews, and an occasional essential oil episode from time to time. But before you leave, I want you to do a couple things. Make sure you join my Facebook group, More Than Your Weight Women's Community, where you can unpack these episodes, get weekly trainings, monthly challenges, and a lot of support. But also be sure to hit subscribe and rate and review this podcast, because guess what? I want to make sure this podcast pops in your inbox every single week. But then if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow me there, because I show a little bit behind the scenes of my business and my own health journey. So I'm so excited that you're here. Can't wait for you to listen to this new episode. But also, again, just know that you are so much more than your weight. Your health and your worth is so much more than your weight. All right, enjoy the episode, and I hope to talk to you soon.